Right now, though, is a history-making moment, Alex, because the Toyota 86 Racing Series is about to have its first race at Mount Panorama. We had some dramas with qualifying yesterday with a red flag, a delayed start. Half the drivers didn't get laps in, so we've gone back to the combined practice times to give us the grid.
And these guys, a lot of these guys will be chafing at the bit to get out on the track. They had a quiet day yesterday, only one qualifying session, which was in the end cut short. So there'll be a lot of built-up energy ready to explode once the race starts this morning.
And they haven't been on the track, Alex, for the best part of the last 24 hours. They had a qualifying session yesterday morning that had dramas, as we mentioned. So they've sat around and watched everybody else turn lots of laps. So it's Aaron Seaton on pole position. Alongside him is David Cedars. Row 2, Dylan Golson and Will Brown, who's the series points leader coming into this weekend. Stephen Johnson, one of 3 invited drivers from P5 alongside Tim Brook. Then Ben Grice, Cam Hill, Jake Klein and John Goodacre. That's the top 10. 39 cars for the Toyota 86 Racing Series. First trip to Mount Panorama. We have a couple of invited drivers in the field. Here is one of them, Stephen Johnson on board car 17. We also have Glenn Seaton back with us this weekend. He's going to start from P12, and Leanne Tander is back in position 25. And they're here to race, but they're also here to mentor and guide. I think well over half the field have never raced at this place.
Yeah, I'm sure Glenn and Steve in particular. G'day, Steve. He's pretty relaxed, ready for the start here, but I'm sure Glenn and Steve have been very busy showing some of the other guys around who haven't been here before, offering up a few little tips here and there. There's a lot of parts of this track which you don't drive conventionally. There's lots of little tricks that you learn over the years, how to use the camber of the road to get that little more grip, some of the braking points, all that type of stuff that Steve and Glenn can help them with after so many years of racing here.
Here's Leanne Tander, who currently leads the National Formula Ford Series. And Leanne's joined us a couple of times so far this year. We have 3 invited drivers at every round of the Toyota 86s, and this is our, I guess it's our inaugural club, Johnson, Seaton and Tander, because they were with us for the Winton kickoff of this series earlier in the year. We're going to fill up the grid of cars. It's great to have the Toyota 86s here. We've also got the reigning New Zealand Toyota 86 champ Ash Blewett here, who, as part of his prize for winning that series, has got himself a drive here at Bathurst this weekend. He's going to start from a bit further back in the pack. He'll start from position 19. A lot of very nervous and edgy racing drivers right now who are racing at Bathurst for the very first time. It's a big moment.
It's a huge moment. A lot of these guys would have been watching races at Bathurst their whole life. Any motorsport fan has. So to actually get out on the track in a racing car is daunting and exciting. I mean, for sure, if they hadn't been on the track before, they would have gone out in practice and gone, oh my God, how can you race a car around here? And they haven't had a lot of practice to get up to speed. So for sure, a lot of these guys still learning their way around. But as I said, 24 hours and they've hardly been on the circuit. When these lights go out in a few seconds, it's going to be like an explosion of energy. So I'm interested to see what happens.
So it's Aaron Seaton on pole position, son of the great Glenn Seaton. Glenn's a bit further back in the pack. David Cedars, very experienced in utes at Bathurst. He's on the front row. Dylan Golson is alongside Will Brown, the silver number 31 car, points leader. It's race 10 of the series. There's 100 points on the line, but there's also the bragging rights of beating the first Toyota winner at Mount Panorama. We're off and rolling for 6 laps to turn 1, and it's a really even jump between the top 2 or 3 rows of the grid. Cedars is up for the challenge around the outside of Aaron Seaton, and he's going to lead up Mountain Straight.
Here we go. Aaron Seaton and Cedars are still side by side, though. Seaton will be getting a little bit of a draft from the side of Cedars' car, and we can see him pulling ahead. Who can shift through the Toyota gearbox the fastest? Every little bit that will give an advantage, and we'll see who can. They're completely side by side. I'm assuming Cedars will hold that line into turn 1. Golson in 3rd, right behind, and Will Brown and Steve Johnson in 4th and 5th.
Oh, Dylan Golson just trying to get his nose in there, but Aaron Seaton covers it off on the climb for the first time up Mount Panorama. There's Ben Grice in the number 9 car, but it's David Cedars who leads the way. We jump aboard with Glenn Seaton side by side with John Goodacre. That's just at the fringe of running in the top 10. It is close. Look at this, nose to tail for the first time across the top of Mount Panorama. Top 10 have started to break away from the field. From here on, these cars are just about flat from the cutting all the way through here. Now they start to feather it through. They are on the money.
I would assume they're just about flat the whole way across the top of the mountain. It'll be a little bit hairy. We see these cars four-wheel drifting through fast corners like at Philamy Park, but for sure here they have to get on the brakes and downshift. The car's getting wide over the crest of the hill at Skyline. We can see them slithering their way down through the S's towards the Dipper. With David Seaton still out in front, no overtaking opportunities so far. But Seaton will be thinking about it here, approaching Forest Elbow. Probably not on the first lap, he's not quite close enough.
And all weekend, the drivers, even if it was just in practice, were slipstreaming up and down the mountain. They were getting ready for these races. We jump aboard with Stephen Johnson on board the 17 car, the famous number 17. 21 starts for Stephen in the Bathurst 1000. Of course, he's not behind the wheel of a supercar these days, as Seaton now pulls out of the slipstream. This is going to go for 6 laps backwards and forwards.
Well, Seaton and Will Brown had plenty of practice slipstreaming in practice, which ended up being their qualifying session, I suppose. So we saw that slipstream effect there from Aaron Seaton. Plenty of speed on the straight from his car. Blew past, here we go, Steve.
This is good.
His arms around.
Will Brown's managed to jump through on Dylan Golson. That silver number 31 car has jumped up to 3rd spot. Ben Grice
up the inside of Steve Johnson, side by side through the last corner.
So this is ironic because Stephen Johnson made his first Bathurst start in 1994 with Ben's dad, Alan. Bet you never thought he was going to race his son at Bathurst.
They're just about sharing a car here. They're so close, but Gricey up the inside. Steve Johnson will be trying to get a good exit, and he has done so onto Mountain Straight. So now we'll see if he can get the slipstream.
I'm after you.
Steve's having a good time out there, pretty relaxed. He knows we're watching, obviously. But
oh, one off in the background there. I think that's Cameron Creek possibly running through the grass on the run-up Mountain Straight. And these top runners, this is the pack that goes back to Jack Klein in car 6. So the top 9 have broken away from Glen Seaton. Replay of the start as everyone let the clutch out and got rolling towards Hell Corner. Oh, boy, that was tight. It was a bit tight, but
I think they all got away with it. Seaton and Cedars both getting very even jumps. Cedars looked stronger at first, but Aaron's come through and had the line into turn 1. Steve Johnson got a good start too, but had nowhere to go. He was tucked right up behind Golson, I think it was. We're on board with Glen Seaton. Nice start from Glen, no wheel spin, just a nice amount of clutch slip, so he got a very good start. But you see how tight the track is on the start-finish straight here at Bathurst. You can get the best start ever, and often you just have to lift because you have nowhere to go. But they were 3 wide through turn 1 there. Glenn folding his mirror back. There's nothing worse on the first lap when you lose your passenger side mirror.
Oh, John Fowler out wide here. Alongside Kane Baxter Smith, and he does make it up to the curb and the concrete.
Makes me nervous watching that.
Red Rooster delivery cam replay heading up Mountain Straight. These were the guys in the background I think we could see who were running wide. Oh, and Fowler has come to a standstill right in the middle of the Dipper, and there's damage to the left front of the number 81 car, the young gun from Wollongong Way. It's Jose Fernandez looking after him, the former V8 supercar driver. Will Brown here, putting a challenge on David Cedars, round the outside at the chase. So that 2nd spot as Grice now lunges.
Grice up the inside.
Nice.
Great job pulling that up. I wasn't sure he was going to do that. So Grice is charging through the field. He's up to 4th now. But the slipstream effect's having a huge effect with these front runners. I thought, Seaton's been pretty solid out in front, but let's see if Will Brown can do the same thing with Seaton that he just did with David Cedars on Mountain Straight. Safety car's out.
Yep, safety car's just been called, Alex, just as the field comes across the line to complete lap 2, and that car obviously is in a pretty hairy predicament. It's a blind approach to the Dipper, and the car can't be moved. It's got damage to the left front, which is a real shame. Let's have a look here and see how this is all unfolded, and that is heavy.
So I wonder, because he had a big moment and made some contact with the wheel just after the grade over the top of the mountain. I wonder if something, he's damaged something and then
I wouldn't
had a
be
bit
surprised.
of a failure,
Would not be surprised. There it is in the background.
Heavy contact. I mean, that concrete doesn't give. And even at slow speed, you really feel that shock right through your body when you have an accident like that. This is on board with Leanne.
Yeah, this is on board with Leanne Tander. Dropping through the S's.
He's gone straight ahead. So, and we actually saw the wheel lock up. So
And then for Leanne, he's bouncing back across the road, but he manages to grab a hold of the car, keep it to the left, and keep that path open for the oncoming traffic.
Yeah, so didn't see really closely what happened. It was still a little bit blocked, but something strange has happened anyway. He might have just lost the car, but here we go. A lot of tyre squeal, so who knows what's happened there.
Yeah,
but
it's a strange one.
I'd say something's happened when he's touched the wall up at Reed Park or Sorman Park.
The good news is, though, he's okay and he's out of the car. The team medical crew are straight away on the scene there, and of course that car will need to be recovered. Just as I say that, the Tilt Trade truck arrives around the corner. So we're under safety car here at Mount Panorama, lap 3 of a scheduled 6 for the Toyota 86. As Stephen Johnson slipped back just while all that was going on, he slipped back to position 7. So it's Aaron Seaton who leads the way from Will Brown. David Cedars is next. Ben Grice has made moves. He's gone from 7th to 4th. Dylan Golson, Cam Hill, Steve Johnson we ride aboard with, Tim Brook, Jake Klein, Glenn Seaton. That is the top 10 as they run under safety car at the moment.
Yeah, we didn't see how Stevie dropped back, but Benny Grice has gone forward, charging through the field. Stevie's dropped back a couple of spots. Being one of the bigger drivers in the field, and I'm not even having a joke here at Stevie, he's one of my mates, but was being one of the bigger drivers in the field, wouldn't be for sure wouldn't be a big advantage in these little cars that don't have that much power.
While we've got the safety car out, Alex, we might dive aboard with the shaded Glenn Seaton. He's got the shades on today. You look serious, my friend.
Yeah, I've always got, when you got the shades on, so no one can see your eyes, so you just don't know what you're focusing on, do you?
Hey, I want to know, mate, have you got that drink straw in there? Have you started chewing yet or what?
No, you know what? 6 laps, I think I could deal without that. But yeah, I suppose you're right. That might be why I'm not at the front.
Well,
I need to chew the drink straw.
Well,
actually, you put me onto something for that next race.
Yeah, we might do that later in the day. The guy who's at the front has got the same surname as yours. Does he still live in your house? Do you charge him rent? What's going on?
At the moment, he's getting away with it because his mum lets him get away with it. But if he keeps winning races like this, he can afford to pay rent.
This is very true. Very, very true. Hey, how are you enjoying being back at Bathurst and part of this series? We've loved having you part of it the last couple of rounds that we've had you run. It looks like a whole pile of fun.
It is. Actually, the cars are very, very good around here. Across the top of the mountain, you're actually flat right down into the what we used to call the Caltex curve, which is the grate. You're flat right across there. Little lift for McPhillamy. Back on it again. They're quite exciting because they're actually they carry really good corner speed. Sure, down the straight, we grab our lunch, have a bit of a picnic, blah, blah, blah. But no, it's good racing, and it's really, like I said at Winton, it's really good for the young guys to be able to compete in something like this. It's so even, but also it's put on in such a big grandstand events like these supercar events. And you know what? I'm much happier this weekend because I'm further forward than I was at Winton.
Hey, there's so many young drivers in this field, your son included. There's many of them, though, that haven't been here to this track before. What's been the advice you've been imparting to any who've come and asked?
Well, we did a bus tour on Wednesday, when we went around, and I just give them a bit of a rundown on places across this track that brings a lot of people undone. And a lot of them took a really good advice, and then in the first session, I took a bunch of them to follow me for the first 10 minutes of the session. And we just sort of ran at 70%, then 80%, got a little bit quicker to give them a bit of a guide of here's the lines, here's the areas you need to be on the track. And I think it worked because we haven't had a lot of incidents this weekend, which is great. And all the guys did appreciate it that we did it with. So, no, I think it's been good. And naturally, we've still got to catch a few young guys up front that are very, very fast, which is what this series is doing, is bringing these young guys through.
It's a really nice link too, mate, because remember that, you know, when you first turned up here, you raced with your dad. Now you have the chance to race with your son. Not in the same car, but in the same field. That's got to be a real buzz.
It's a pretty big, proud moment, to be honest, Nerns. And to see him up the front there, it's a pretty proud moment. And I've finished my career, and now it's the start of his. It's really awesome. That's
almost sounding like an excuse as to why he's beating you.
Hey, I tell you what, I don't mind making excuses while he's in front of me, because that's easy. Talk's easy. When you do it on the track, which is what he's doing, that's a lot harder.
Hey, I'm always interested to know, you're a two-time polester at this place, 94, 96. Who's going to grab pole this afternoon? I need an expert's prediction.
I tell you what, It'll be between Wingcup and Chaz Mostert, I reckon. They're the two forms in qualifying, I think. But I'll tell you what, I started on pole twice here, but it didn't do me any good to win a race, so history doesn't show poles that good.
You've sat on the fence there, you picked two guys, you can only pick one. You're on the spot, go.
Chaz Mostert.
I knew you were going to say that.
No, he's a good friend of mine. He's from the Gold Coast. He spent a lot of time with the kids at go-karting back when his earlier days when he was karting. I really like the attitude. I really like his family, and I think he drives pretty awesome. And also, with what happened to him last year, it would be fantastic to see him to get a good result. Absolutely. Thanks for your time, mate. We'll let you get back to work. We're going to have a restart next time around. There he is, Glenn Seaton, the Hall of Famer in the Toyota 86, as the veteran of 26 Bathurst 1000s, the three-time runner-up. This is on board before we went to safety car with Stephen Johnson.
If he gets overtaken here, it's going to be marginal whether it was when the safety car boards are out, but I think
it's Cam Hill.
Cam Hill will get away with that one.
Have to grab another gear and look in the mirror to see who was going to get a run on him.
Safety car boards came out about now, didn't they?
I haven't seen any yet.
I haven't seen any yet.
Keeping an eye. And that is Tim Brook now down the outside.
He'll hang around the outside probably. No, he's still behind Stevie in 8th.
And that's Jake Klein trying to get a move on Tim Brook, and then they lift off because that was when the safety car was called, just as the leaders had got to the line to complete lap 2, and they button off and slow on down to line up behind the Lexus safety car up Mountain Straight. So we're going to get a restart next time around when those lights go out. Aaron Seaton leads the way. We saw a quick shot before too of Alan Grice watching on. His son Ben is here for the first time, and he's going well. He's in P4, and of course Alan, two-time winner of this race. It's 30 years this year since he won with Graham Bailey in the Chickadee Commodore VK. The last year we had this track with its full version before they introduced the chase on Conrod Straight. So it's great to have some of these names like Johnson and Grice and Seaton, Tander, but also plenty of young drivers who are trying to make a name for themselves in this series, and a lot of drivers who've come from club and state level racing who see this category, these cars, as the doable next step for their career, to get onto a platform, to be able to be in front of big crowds, television audiences, and prove their wares up against some very good drivers.
Oh, it's without a doubt that there was a real need for a category like this. There was for sure a big empty space in the motorsport ladder in Australia where the Toyota 86 Racing Series is fitted straight in. And it's feasible for guys to step out of go-karts or out of club-level motor racing, feasible economically for them to make this step. So it's fantastic, and they can make this step in front of all the V8 Supercar teams and, as you said, all the big crowds and the big events. So it's exciting to see how successful it's been so far.
And the thing that I've loved seeing coming to some of these rounds is that it's a little different to a lot of one-make series in the past where the cars were fully prepared by one organisation and trucked to the round. There's plenty of father and son racing teams who have got their car, they've worked on it in their shed at home, they've put together their own little racing package, and they come away and do the motor racing thing, and it's a family affair. And it reminds you a lot of how it used to be in a lot of other categories that just as time goes on, things evolve and things step up. There is Alan Grice, the two-time Bathurst 1000 winner, keeping an eye on how young Ben's rolling. He's sitting in P4 and he's hanging out at DJR Team Penske. Of course, I think we had to rewire ourselves when we saw him drive with Dick Johnson's team once. He shared with Stephen Johnson here going back some years. So he's always a very interested onlooker at Ben's racing, who's come through the saloon cars, and now he's with a chance here for a top 3 at Bathurst as they get ready to restart this time around.
He's definitely moving in the right direction. Not sure what the safety car rules are in Toyota 86 Racing Series. Normally when the lights go out and the safety car drives away, you've got to stop weaving. Aaron Seaton continuing to weave a little bit there, getting temp in his tyres, getting ready for the start.
And now he's going on the exit of the chase. Look at them all backed up behind. They're all doing about 10 kilometres per hour, but our race leader, Aaron Seaton, is back on the throttle of the number 30 Skyfleet Hino car, and he's got margin. That's a great jump.
Very good restart there. Will Brown getting sideways onto the straight there, so not a good exit. David Cedars would have seen that, and he's got a good run on him, so he'll be having a think about what he can do at turn 1. And Brown covering his line into turn 1, but he hold that position. Cedars will be trying to get a good run now onto Mountain Straight, be looking for that toe. But look at the gap Aaron Seaton's got. already. It's probably out to nearly a second, and they've only gone through one corner.
And he's only got one lap to lead because time certain finish, a long safety car period means it's now or never. It's the fight for second place that's really on. Grice is in the slipstream on the way up Mountain Straight. David Cedars is not going to give up that inside line. He's going to make Grice go the long way at Griffin's
And
Bend.
he's trying it.
Ben's up for the challenge. You don't want to dare him to do this because he's going to have a go. He's out wide there and he won't get the run. Dylan Gulson behind has got a sensational run. He's going to go side by side to the shelf and get the spot.
Somehow I knew Ben Grice was going to have a crack there. He was going to do something. He doesn't hold back, but he's not out of this yet. He's had plenty of pace in that car over the last couple of laps, so let's see if he can get back past Dylan Gulson.
That's a race-winning margin that Aaron Seaton, and he did it on the restart at the exit.
Second already.
Of the chase, yeah, second at the top of the mountain. He's going to be so hard to catch from here on in. Have a little look inside the steering wheel.
Is there a lift?
Of Stephen Johnson's car. I reckon that was pretty pegged.
It was flat. Little bit of a lift over the crest.
And now on
it'll be flat again, yeah. Now let's see all these years of experience, 21 Bathurst. Let's see how it gets him down over the S's.
Oh, one's wide up in front. Really wide. That's Grice, who was sideways over the top of the mountain. Cam Hill there in the 111 car, the guy who dominated the early few races in this series.
Now Steve will be looking up. He's not quite close enough. But Cameron Hill running wide through the left-hander before Forrest Elba. So Stevie has got a good run out of this corner now. He should be able to get a slipstream based on what we've seen everyone else do.
Final
perfect position here.
Final time down Conrod Straight. Now or never for Stephen Johnson. Sixth gear is next. But look at that margin. Aaron Seaton is on his way home. And he did it on the restart. Will Brown in a really good second spot. That's good points for his series fight. Johnson trying to grab sixth place at the chase on the final lap.
He'll still be thinking about it. He'll still be trying to get past Cameron Hill down into the last corner, and he is close enough. And Glenn Seaton's moved up one more spot as well from where he started that restart. So he's up to 9th. But Aaron Seaton, the younger Seaton, has dominated this last lap.
The teenager has shown them the way. Aaron Seaton wins the inaugural Toyota 86 Racing Series race at Mount Panorama. His grandfather won the Armstrong 565. Glenn's won in TCM here, and now Aaron's a race winner at Bathurst as well. The margin, 1.4 seconds. He skipped away on that last lap. The rest of the field zipping across the line. Great job by everybody in the first hit out for the Toyotas at Mount Panorama. They do have another race this afternoon here at Bathurst, and then their final race will be tomorrow morning before, of course, the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. But it is 100 series points to Aaron Seaton, who came into this weekend third in the points. He's nibbled a little bit away from Will Brown, but the problem for him is that Will's finished second. David Cedars third from Dylan Gulson and Ben Grice. Cam Hill, Stephen Johnson, Tim Brook. Glenn Seaton P9 from 12th on the grid. Jake Klein rounding out the top 10. Unbelievably close between the rest of the field. John McCorkindale just behind. It was hard to know where to look in that one because there was plenty going on. Yeah, anywhere in the field that you looked, there was going to be a good race and some action. So I'm looking forward to seeing the next couple of races this weekend. Duncan Harrison rounding out the top 20 there for race 10 of the championship. There's Leanne Tander, P22. It's been a bit tough for Adam Gowan. She's had some problems and finished 23rd.